Hi, folks. It's Donna Martin, and welcome back to my new podcast, The Goodlife Approach. This is where we're looking at unleashing your infinite possibilities. And as always, I'm going to start with this fresh reminder to set your intention. The intention of this podcast is to invite you to experience a new way of feeling about yourself, feeling about your life, and feeling about the world that we live in. So let's dive in. This week's topic that I am inviting you to remain curious on and get curious with the question is, are you ready for it? It is, why do you think you're here? So why do you think you're here? And this is talking about unlocking your purpose and your presence. This is what I love going into, folks. These, again, if you haven't started at the beginning of the podcast, I invite you to go back and look at what your idea of the good life is. Last week, we looked at who is holding you back. Who do you believe is holding you back? And I'm sure you would have got some great insights off that. So this week, the question that I'm asking you is, why do you think you're here? And the easiest way I can break this down is, in the simplest terms, you could just say, right, okay, I am this physical human being, this bag of bones. I was born. Somebody gave birth to me. I was born. I came into this world. I'm here then, and whatever society tells me, that's what I'm here. That's what I'm molded under. Whether I go to university, whether they tell me I'm somebody that's hands-on, whether they tell me I'm gadgety or techie, that society, I allow them to define me. Then we decide, okay, do we go to uni? Do we go get married? Do we go start a family? Do we then end up retire and have a bit of experience in between? Then we retire, and then we hope we don't get an illness, and then we die. In its simplest form, when you think about why you're here, this is why I'm asking the question, because it's absolutely bananas. Like, there's people there, and I used to think this. I have always been curious from a very early age. It's like, surely we're not just here to have somebody tell us this is what you're meant to do, a teacher tell us, or a family member tell us, or society tell us, or media, or the news, or our partners, or somebody of influence. Surely we're not just here to follow like a herd of sheep, follow just for the sake of following for the social masses, just sleepwalking our whole way to death. Or are we? Maybe we freaking are. I told you, folks, this is the insight. These are the kind of questions that I love just exploring, because really, like, your logic, your conscious mind is thinking all the time of the how, thinking of the figuring out, thinking of the logic in things, the behavior in things, the functionality of things, the rationale, the reason behind something. So why do you think you're here? When you think about what your beliefs are around this, what are they? Have you actually even considered them? Have you started thinking about it in glimpses, maybe at a time where you get sick, maybe at a time where somebody else got sick and somebody else died? Because again, when I was a palliative care nurse for nearly 5 years, I nursed hundreds of people in their deathbeds, and it was always at the last moment, at the last breath, at the last time when they knew that they weren't going to get better. They were at the end of their illness and transitioning. And it was looking back on their life and the hindsight, because they had that gift of hindsight, but you have the gift of foresight. You have the gift of being now in the present, in this moment, in this reality of life, of where you are in your thinking, in your self-awareness, in your self-discovery, if you like, to invite yourself to be curious without judgment, to invite yourself to be curious from a place of love, of, I'm just going to play about with this. Maybe this gear's batshit crazy. Maybe I think it's a load of rubbish what Donna's saying, or maybe something inside me or something of what she's saying has tweaked my interest. Who knows? And that's the beauty about this. I'm not trying to get you to buy into anything. I'm not trying to tell you my way's right and your way's wrong, because there's no empowerment in that. It's a waste of time. And I know for me, don't dare tell me how to do something. Like, don't come at me with something and tell me that this is the way or this is something. Give me an option. I love having that gift, somebody presenting a thing of curiosity, of ease, of what's the intention behind this. Okay, it's to get curious. It's to look at where you are now and how you view yourself, where you are now and how you view life, where you are now and how you view what's your lens of the world. Do you get sucked into all the trauma, all the drama, all the wars, all the fighting, all the politics? Are you feeding into all the systems? Are you feeding into the stuff on social media? What have you fed into and bought into is your story loop? What energies are you feeding into? Are you in amongst people that are really heavy naysayers to there's no good in the world, there's no love, this is a pile of bullshit, this is a pile of whatever? Or are you starting to feel a sense within you that, hold on a minute, some of this stuff is freaking bullshit that I learned? Some of the experiences that I've had in my own life, they're not what people told me. They're not how people told me it should be. I done all the right things and I still came up with an experience that I wasn't prepared for, that nobody told me about. This is why I love using my experience, the traumas that I've turned into wisdom in my own life, because they're important. We connect with each other on stories. We connect with each other on familiarities. We connect with each other from knowing somebody else has been through an impact, knowing somebody else has been through some kind of adversity that you can relate to. Because then it's not just somebody sitting on a stool, high and mighty, going, yay, I've created all this and this is amazing and that. No, life is real. This is real. Keep it real. Be authentic. And you will feel that in my tone. You will feel that in my energy, that it's coming from a place in me of love. It's coming from a place of me and curiosity. It's coming from a place of me in this need to express this out to the world for a greater good as a philanthropic entrepreneur. I have a huge love of life, love of humanity, love of sharing a common message of good, that life can be incredible, that we have infinite possibilities in ourselves. And I believe that every one of us should be gifted the opportunity to experience, to awaken to what that feels like, to awaken and get curious about why we're here. And that is why I absolutely love this question, because it's so simple in the fact of you're born, you experience, you die, to going way, way deeper into so many layers that you could be down 100 different rabbit holes with this. And please feel free, send me an email, put a message in the comments, like, just what is your insights? What do you think? Because I love exploring where other people are at, because we are all individual. We all have our own ideas of the truth. And this is an incredible one that I'm going to touch on in another subject about your version of the truth. This isn't about me getting you to buy into something, but it's asking yourself, what have you already bought into? What have you bought into unconsciously? What have you unconsciously been programmed by default to be your regular story loop, to be your regular noise, to be your regular resting state of unease, of frustration, of irritation, of arrogance, or maybe it's of ease, of flow, of happiness, of abundance. And maybe you're listening to this podcast because you're curious and you love asking these questions as well. Maybe you're on your own wee journey. And again, we're all on our own journey. So it's about inviting yourself to be curious and ask yourself the questions. share them, because I love people asking me stuff. I love asking people, because we all have different views of the same scenarios, of similar settings, of similar societal constructs, if you like, of we could all see the same thing on the news and come away with a different version, come away with a different perspective. And this is where intentional design comes into play, really, because it's looking at where you are intentionally focusing your thoughts, where you intentionally focusing your story loop, where are you intentionally using the magnificent power of your manifesting, of your imagination? Where are you intentionally using all these gifts? Are you intentionally using them to reinforce a message or a story loop of fear, of lack, of limitation, of we're here to suffer, we're here to really struggle through life, we're not here to be prosperous or abundant, we're not here to be happy? And this isn't jumping on some kind of rah-rah bandwagon of woohoo, I'm happy all the time and I'm pip pip pippery. That's the biggest bullshit I ever heard. I have 3 boys, 11, 7, and 5, and my husband. It's us 4. And they'll tell you, I'm not calm, cool, and collected. I give out. I'm a dairy here, so I am loud and I'm proud. But you will hear me before you see me in a lot of contexts. But that's part of who I am. I grew up learning the thing of shout to be heard. And that's something I'm working on all the time. But I'm not embarrassed to admit it. I'm not embarrassed to say that I'm always having things to work on, that I'm not showing up as my best. Like for my boys, I'm apologizing nearly every day or multiple times a day to them for showing up or reacting to things not in a way that I desire to react to. It's been instinctual, it's been habitual. And these are things I continually work on, but I don't judge myself for them. I don't let my kids judge me for them either. But it's about being honest and having that forum, that communication. But we are always exploring, and I explore this with my kids. Why do you think you're here? What is your purpose? It's about being a good human being. It's about being more than a human being, that spiritual being, that soul essence. It's about tuning into yourself. How are you feeling today? What's the communication you have? And that's not something I grew up with. And many of you may be listening now have not grew up with. So it's given you the opportunity to ask the question. And remember, I said before, every time we ask a question, we automatically get the answer. But it's just how quiet we are to tune in and listen, how willing we are to accept the answer that we get. Because a lot of the noise, a lot of the beliefs, a lot of the naysaying things that hold us back, those patterns, those story loops, can jump in there and hijack in a split second. And if you're not aware of how your mindset works, if you're not aware of the shift in the energy through that intentional design, which is a practice, then you can miss it easily. And I've done this so many times, and it's a conscious effort. But you have to choose yourself. You have to decide. I had 3 major impacts in my life before I finally said enough is enough, before I stopped dipping my toe in the water. Now, this podcast could be absolutely enough for you, or just flicking through books, or listening to different things, or reading as you go. Or you might want to go deeper, diving into this kind of information. But where you're at is where you're at. So don't give yourself a hard time. It's meant to be fun. So enjoy it. Don't judge. Have fun being curious. Have fun. Actually write down, why do you think you're here? What is your purpose? What is the reason that you believe you're put in this earth? And notice what answers come to you. Start paying attention. Is whatever job you're in now, do you believe that that's why you're here? Do you believe that you have a really good gift of tuning in, of connecting with people, or connecting people to other people? Do you have a gift of love, of respect, of empathy, of being a good listener? Do you have a gift of being an incredible mother or father or figure that somebody else can look up to? What is it about you? Because you are absolutely incredible. And when you realize and give yourself permission to unleash your infinite possibilities, unlock that passion, that purpose that's within you, or if you've unlocked it already, how can you continue to expand? Is the next question. Because if we have infinite possibilities, if this universe, this energetic connection that we all have, if it has infinite possibilities, then our mind can't even comprehend how far we can go. It can't go any further than our current limitations. So this is why I'm inviting you to stretch. I'm inviting you to be curious. I'm inviting you to go beyond where you've ever gone before and start asking yourself, why am I here? What I believe my purpose is, what imprint am I leaving? An emotional energy imprint is something that I use all the time. It's a tool that I created because it was my way of putting words to something energetic that I couldn't really explain. But it's something that had a huge feeling impact on me, on my kids going through traumas, on my life and my word. And I just couldn't put a word or name on it. So one day I remember sitting, an emotional energy imprint just kept coming to me, and I just kept feeling like I was this stamp, like I was just pressing on to other people. And I would look at my boys when I was going through stuff, and I'd be hiding in the bathroom and I'd be crying, and then you'd be going out to them, and then you'd be apologizing, and you'd be like, I'm sorry, look, mommy's feeling just emotional today. It's owning your feelings and telling them that it's okay to cry, that it's okay to have days where you find it difficult. But the thing is to give yourself that love, give yourself that space, acknowledge it, and know that you're doing the best that you can, and tell them that you're doing the best that you can, and that that's part. But that, seeing how I was imprinting onto them then, and changing the imprinting from hiding and them knowing full well that there was something wrong, to actually then communicating with language to help with the energy imprint that I was already putting on them anyway. This was a major game changer for me. And it can be for you too when you become aware of it. And I'm sharing that because, in relation to why you believe you're here, you're always imprinting. And if you're not sure what I mean by that energy transition, the easiest way is to think about somebody standing behind you in the queue in a shop. And if you've ever felt like somebody's really staring at you, and then you turn around and there they are looking, that is an imprint. Energetically, we're made of energy. I talked about this in the last podcast. Science backs it up, curling photography backs it up. You can see it. This is what it is. This is the imprint. But some imprints will stay with you longer. Some of your imprints from your energy will stay on other people longer. So why do you believe you're here? Are you stepping into your greatness? Are you unleashing your infinite possibilities? Or are you possibly staying small for fear of what someone might say? For fear of being seen, for fear of being heard, for fear of stepping into your truth. I used to surface skim. I would talk deeper about this stuff for a lot of context and with clients and things like that. But then when it came to social media, sometimes I would, and then other times I shied away because I just was like, I don't think people are going to get it. Until I realized that I was trying to do something that people would get. I wasn't doing it for me, for the intention of sharing and trusting the process of attracting the people that were on this idea, the people where you were planting the seeds and gifting the ideas of curiosity. And that's part of where this podcast came from, because it came from a place of intention. It came from a place of love, of curiosity, and no expectation. So I invite you to be curious and ask, why do you think that you're here? This is about you unlocking your purpose, your presence, and your infinite possibilities. And as always, folks, remember, Your greatest asset is your ability to be yourself. So who are you choosing to be today? That's what I'm going to leave you with, folks. Thank you always for listening. If you enjoyed it, just click on the rating thing, share your thoughts, stick in a wee question there if you want, and I am happy to share. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next episode.